welcome to this episode 208 of Frame and Reference. You're about to drop into a conversation between me, Kenny McMillan, and my guest Stuart Biddlecombe, BSC, DP of The Handmaid's Tale. Enjoy. So this is great because you have it on your wall, but every time I have a British cinematographer on, I must talk about, it's usually a joke, but you've given up the plot. I always go, without checking, I go, so what was it like shooting Doctor Who? And they always go, because being British is like, it's like if you live in New York and you're a DP, you have to shoot Law and Order before you're considered. And I feel like in the UK, it's Doctor Who.
Yeah, very much. I mean, it's kind of. I mean, I know. I think Kate Reid said it, and you're in an interview a few weeks ago. It is very much kind of a rite of passage. Kind of, if you kind of work in TV drama, 9 times out of 10, you've gone up to Cardiff and you shot a few episodes. Yeah. And I must admit, I mean, I love it. It's a great show. I mean, I'm such a fan of it, and I'm still very lucky to be able to kind of play a very, very small part of it. But yeah, it's great. I mean, and for what it is, essentially is. I mean, I know it's changed now, but when I was involved, no, it was a low budget BBC drama, and that was the charm. That's why I loved it so much, because we did everything kind of in camera. We just kind of mucked around a bit and kind of did the very best we can. But I loved it. It was one of the best things I've ever done. It was a joy and lovely people. If anybody is listening, goes to shoot in Cardiff, you'll just have a glorious time. Everybody is charming and also top of their game as well, and they all do it as well. So yeah, it's up there, and I'm slightly embarrassed by it, but yeah, it's a great show to do. I mean, I've said it before, but it literally is like probably my favorite running series. Yeah. And you shot with my favorite Doctor, Peter Capaldi. Yeah, because after the Matt Smith era, I was like, man, they like locked this guy in a box for thousands of years. He's already thousands of years old. Yeah. Like, he's going to be grumpy. Yeah. And then they were like, we're going to get a grumpy guy. I was like, absolutely. I've been lucky enough to work with Peter on a couple of other jobs as well. Yeah, you did. What was it? I did something called Devil's Hour. Devil's Hour. I love that show as well. Good. I watched it because of him, but yeah, that was a phenomenal show. Oh, great. Thank you. It means a lot. It's nice when people say, like, so I get no kind of anything from anybody about whether they like my work or not. It's very rare. But when people say they like it, that's good news. But yeah, but Peter, although he's, his on-screen and a person who's probably quite sweary and quite grumpy, he is the most charming man. He is absolutely lovely. I shot a pilot for him. He called me up and said, look, is there any chance you might be free to shoot a pilot? And of course, I don't know if people know, but he's an Oscar winner. He shot a short film a few years back and he won an Oscar for it. And he's an extraordinary director. But yeah, to kind of work with him on Doctor Who and Devil's Hour is a dream. He's a real genius. And I did an episode called what was it called? It's called Heaven Sent, and it's basically just a one-man show. Yes, and he was just him on screen for however long it was, 48 minutes, whatever it was, and it was just amazing just watching this man perform. I felt very lucky. I know we should be talking about himself, but he was just incredible. I mean, yeah, but he was just. It's kind of, sometimes you sit back behind the monitors or behind the camera or whatever, and you kind of look at it and go, holy shit, this is amazing. I'm watching this man pull out the most extraordinary performance, and that was one of those occasions. And yeah, I did. Yeah, Heaven Sent, which was greater than Hellbent. The next one wasn't quite well received, but nevertheless, they were both great. And just, I feel very lucky to be kind of, you work and you see those performances. I feel very lucky to be able to kind of witness them firsthand. Yeah, I was literally, Heaven Sent is my first note. Absolutely. Well, there's like a few episodes that I think Who fan, you got your Weeping Angels. And the whole thing. Yeah, absolutely. But the sort of capsule episode of him, because again, the age of the Doctor has always been interesting to me, because the character's always written as so youthful, and still being able to kind of compartmentalize trauma. And to be there for whatever, with 3 billion years or billions of years, just punching diamond for billions of this. I know. It's a brilliant piece of, Stephen Moffat wrote it. and it's a brilliant piece of writing. And then when you've got the two of them together, when I first read it, I must say, when I first read it, I was only given half the script because Stephen actually hadn't finished it. So we only given it, and I just thought, what the fuck else going on? I have generally no idea what's happening. And then it slowly kind of came in, like day by day, we got another couple of pages here. And then it was just evolving into this most extraordinary piece of writing, which we couldn't believe. And when you read the script, if you ever get a chance to read it, you think, how on earth do you start to shoot that? It's impossible. You cannot. How do you photograph it? It's very, very difficult. We had a great director, Rachel Talalay, and our first, who I forgot his name, but he was amazing as well. And the three of us, and Stephen as well, we just kind of pulled it down, kind of took it bit by bit. We kind of analysed it, and then think, okay, well, how do we photograph it? And then we came up with hopefully a solution. But it was one of the most collaborative and most mind-bending few months of my life, just trying to think, how on earth do we put this bit of writing on screen? But yeah, I'm glad it's still got legs. It's one of the few episodes. I mean, I've done a fair few episodes or two, but that one, I always get people come up to me or email me or whatever. And even now, we shot that, how long ago? It must be about 10 years ago now. I think it was. I got married. It was. It's my anniversary this year, 10-year anniversary. And it was. I'm pretty sure it was 10 years ago. And even now, someone could be out. They're doing their thesis on Doctor Who, which I find extraordinary anyway. And then they said, could you explain? And I watched it again a few weeks ago. And I just sat down and I watched it on iPlayer, and I had my scripts and I watched it again, and I thought, usually I hate my work. I hate watching it back. I really find it very, very difficult. But for whatever reason, that one, when I watched it back, I thought, actually, that's not that bad. It's okay. I'm actually not a bad DP sometimes, but I thought that was okay. So yeah, it's great that that's still got legs, and it still kind of, resonates with kind of younger audiences, which is it's good.
Well, and I mean that begets two questions, one of which being, how do you stay, like, I don't know if motivated is the right word, but how do you know the ship's going in the right direction if you don't have pages? And then also, because that set, or whatever you want to call it, that environment is so self-contained, it's a few hallways and then, some CG extensions.
Yes.
So you only got a little bit to work. Did that make it easier?
In a way, I mean, although Stephen, I say Stephen hadn't written it. I mean, it was in his head. So he still said, look, yeah, he said, look, you don't need to, so our department, you'd only need to build maybe a corridor, and the good thing about Wales, you've got a lot of castles. Yeah. so we just went out, and we spent most of the prep, we just went driving around kind of South Wales looking at castles, really. So although we kind of, he didn't necessarily give a script, we still had the bones. We still roughly knew where it was going. We didn't know that we were going to finish off punching our way through this diamond wall. That's another conversation about how on earth do you photograph a diamond wall, right? And that was a whole another conversation. But it's so although we didn't have the script, but Stephen's very good at going, don't worry, it's fine. We'll work it out. But there's Rachel and I going, I don't know what we're going to do. How are we going to do it? But no, he was super cool, and we muddled through in the end.
Well, because when I look at the show over the years, obviously it started off I was able to interview the production designer for the first season of the.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, I can't remember what she was working on, but she was working on something really cool. So in the back, the conversation was kind of like, Rose was supposed to be like a millennial teen. So we just dressed her like in shitty, clothes, the diamond encrusted, jeans and stuff that we used to wear back in the day. And it was just so low budget that it looked like that. And then even when I was talking to Stephen Pearson, he was like, yeah, watching those first few seasons, I was like, I cannot wait to make this show look better. And then
yeah, Stefan, I'm gonna say Stefan, he's an amazing DP. He was a year above me at film school, so our paths have kind of crossed over in there. But I always rate his work. But and when Stefan, when he says, I'm going to make it look better. You just know, okay, yeah, he's going to do it better.
He did.
But that's kind of the charm for me of that show was that it was. No, we did it for 20 pence. I mean, well, not 20 pence, but do you know what I mean? We didn't have much money, so we tried to do as much of it in camera as possible. And I think that's, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I haven't really been up to speed with the latest one, and I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's incredible. Okay.
It is. Well, it's good. I think it's hurt by the shortness. You only get eight episodes, and so you don't really feel like you're sitting with this doctor.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
And I'll leave out some stuff for if people haven't seen the end of it. But okay, it does feel like, oh, there was a lot more to explore here. Like really good promises, but no real resolution. And you're just
for sure. Yeah.
I don't know if this team, I don't know what happened behind the scenes, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
looks great though. Shot real good.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean, I do know a lot of the team who did it. The folks, pullers, the gaffers, that they're still the same team. I'll be honest. Right. It's although it's moving in a different direction, it's still very much that core group of people. So whenever I speak to them, and of course I'll pass across on different jobs, they all say, yeah, it's great. Nothing's really changed from their point of view, apart from they have more money and perhaps a little more time. Right. But it's I mean, I think kind of going back to what I said, but it was that kind of the walls did move, and whenever someone slammed the door, is that kind of charm which I liked, and doing it as much as in camera. That's what interested me. I'll be honest. When we started to do a little bit more kind of green screen during the that time was green screen, I just kind of my heart kind of sank slightly, and okay, that's not why I got into TV and movies. I wanted to visit those locations as much as you can in the Doctor Who world, but I wanted to go to castles, I wanted to go to caves, whatever. I didn't want to go to a studio in West London, as lovely as they are, and shoot a load of VR stuff, interact or whatever it is, just because that does not. I know we've got to do it, but that type of filmmaking doesn't interest me quite so much.
Well, and it's kind of. I was thinking about this with music. I was watching an interview with the singer from Queens of the Stone Age, Josh Homme, and it seems that they're with him, and I feel like this is most artists. There is an element you are giving, right? In music and television, you're giving an audience something, but there still has to be something for you, and especially in film where it takes up so much of your life.
Yeah.
If you're not doing it. If you're not able to go to the castles and you just go to the green screen, I feel like it makes the work suffer because you're not fulfilled. The artist has to be fulfilled to give that back.
100%. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what it is. We as filmmakers, we need to put something of ourselves onto screen, and whatever that is, and it's important that we can connect with it at some point. And whether it's just whether we connect with the script or we connect with the location, whatever, but it's important that we can put ourselves there. And then if you can't, because of whatever reason, because you're in green screen or because because it's a technical exercise.
You're doing one of those jobs.
Yeah.
This will pay rent today.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we all do them. I do them. But they're never good. For me, is they don't inspire me. And so I think it's really important that. I mean, I guess I'm very lucky that I can kind of pick and choose. But the moment they kind of say, okay, so we're going to be doing, a bit of green screen, visual effects, I kind of go, okay, I thought we were going to do it this way, and so if I have another think about it, and often it's fine, but it's never on the list of things I want to do. I want to travel, I want to see these things, like I said, that's what I did when I was sitting watching movies when I was a kid. Oh wow, they're filmmaking. They are going to these places. That's what inspires me. That's I want to travel, and I'm very thankful that filming can help do that. But West London, maybe not.
Yeah. Well, to your point about the charm of Doctor Who, I think it also fits with most sci-fi. I think people will reward an attempt over trying to do more than you can. Like I rewatched The Matrix recently.
Oh yeah,
theaters, and that opening scene where Trinity runs around the wall, kicks the cops, and does the whole thing. Like I've been watching it on DVD or Blu-ray for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
But when you see it big, it's exactly what you're saying. You're like, oh, those walls are made out of plywood. Like the Nebuchadnezzar is an incredible set, but that opening set, and then the rooftops are just stolen from Dark City. They hadn't torn down Dark City.
Really?
So wow. I did a double feature with Dark City and The Matrix. No kidding. That is the exact same set. Like literally, it looked like Dark City left one day, and then The Matrix like snuck in and got that shot,
for sure.
And then they tore it down.
Interesting. Oh, really? I didn't know that. But I think that's it, though. I think people are kind of willing to kind of go, okay, just it's not quite picture perfect. It's not quite so glossy, but there's heart to it. And I think people can consciously or subconsciously they can see that. So yeah, it's well,
and also when you're dealing with a unrealistic scenario, I think it's more important to make the world feel realistic.
Yeah,
if it's sci-fi and it's very like the movie Tomorrowland, I very much enjoy. I think it's charming. I know a lot of people didn't enjoy it, but it's just George Clooney, and I'm like, wee. But but that had a lot of, and I think that was Claudio shot that or something. Like, but shot on F-55s, come to find out.
Wow.
But that had a lot of CG buildings and stuff in it, and that does kind of, I guess for Tomorrowland it's fine because it's Tomorrowland, but at the same time, I wonder if they had maybe even painted facades instead of real buildings, sure. if the reaction may have been better.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting. And also, I mean, there's so many. Sorry to interrupt. There's so many ways you can do it. You can be creative rather than kind of going down this slightly kind of shonky CGI route. And you can be far more creative, I think, than just kind of relying on that. Whether you kind of get, well, we can suggest that. I'm not saying anything new or groundbreaking, but that's the type of kind of filmmaking which resonates with me, and I think with audience as well. I think nowadays people are so savvy that they'll just go, well, yeah, it looks great, but there's no substance to it. And I think that's kind of true a lot nowadays.
Well, there's this wonderful 5-part YouTube series that this guy had made called I can't remember, but ostensibly the thesis is you don't dislike VFX, you don't like bad VFX. Because when it's good VFX, you can't tell.
So,
of course. So no one will comment on it because they don't know it's there. And I think
interesting.
That can be something that is fulfilling, is if you're in that collaborative mindset. They're like, okay, it's not like we're going to put that in later. Maybe they'll show you storyboards and be like, see, look, this is what, and there's the guy who's going to do it. Here we go. And then you're working with the VFX team to make something cool. I think that's probably more fulfilling. I've clearly never worked in that environment, but I think that's probably more fulfilling than, we'll put something there at the end.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I think that's probably it as well. Kind of knowing from the very start about what it's going to be. I mean, because kind of what I'm talking about Handmaid just because it was the last thing I shot, but because we did so much we didn't do so much, but we did do some very much, planes exploding, all that kind of stuff. It's written in the script, so we knew very much from the start that that's what we're going to do. So I think you're right. It was kind of, we brought those guys on very, very early. So you go, okay, this is what we want. This is how we were very clear. Okay, this is what we want from you, rather than going, they'll just fill it in. So everybody within the creative team knew exactly what we were going to get. And I think at any point we thought, well, okay, I don't think that's going to work. Then they would go, okay, let's come up with another idea. Let's come up with another creative solution for that. So you don't go down that route where we thought people will just get pulled out of it because they go, that's bad CGI.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, they are amazing. The people who do the Handmaid are genuinely, they are incredible. But sometimes just go, okay, no, that's not going to work. Let's think of another way of doing it. And 9 times out of 10, you come up with a better way of doing it because we are creative people and we kind of we brainstorm and you come up with like I said, a far better solution.
Do you find Handmaid's Tale been on for how many? It's 2017 to now.
Yeah. So I came in 2018. So and that was on season 3. So I guess 2016. I guess
it's one of those shows that like Game of Thrones kind of felt this way, where it was like, oh no, that's always been on. and then they're like, oh no, this is a series finale, and you're like, wait, what do you mean it ends? But yeah. How do you keep that energy up for so long? Like, how do you not get sort of complacent? I know that look changes a lot. We should get into that as well. But just like as a collaborative being, like, how do you?
I think it's just I think probably it's two things. One, the performances are incredible. So you just when you just watch them, you're going to go, okay, well, I need to up my game here. I need to. I can't be the one left behind. And also, the crew on all seasons I've worked on are incredible. Mm-hmm. So and there are no point where we kind of go, oh, this is just a two-hander, you know. We can figure that out on the day. We never do that. We always try and achieve the very best we can, and I think it's just because we're working with essentially with a bunch of mates, and that's kind of how I want to make, you know, how I want to be a filmmaker. As presumptuous that sounds, but it's you know, I just want to work with my friends, and then when you work with your friends, you just automatically you just go, what is the best way we can photograph this? What can we do to make this script? They're great already. Let's bring up another level. So I think it's just kind of working with a really kind of positive environment. I don't think there's no kind of, in a conscious way, I think, we need to, you know, make an Emmy-winning version of it this time, whatever. I think we just try and do the very best we can, and you know, I think it shows. You know, I think that there's so much passion, so much love in it from so many people that it shows, and you know, you just need to kind of just turn up every day, and it just happens. You know, that you bring your A game every single day. Yeah, and I think if you don't, you feel very embarrassed. Yeah. You know, dear, I must try harder.
Well, it's going back to that thing of me listening to the Josh Homme interview, the music thing. I think there is something in what you said about, like, if you try really hard, if you're focused on an end goal,
yeah,
you will lose it. You know, one thing he said is, if you expect anything from music, you expect too much.
Yeah, interesting.
I've sat there kind of with that quote for a minute, because I'm like, I feel like that's the same thing with making. If you're like, I'm going to make something that's going to blow people's minds, you're like, you're going to lose it. It's that, you know, sand between your fingers thing.
Yeah, for sure. Like, absolutely.
If you collaborate, if you're making something that excites you, even if you don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
I feel like that results in something that, you know, if you exist in the flow state versus the analytic state. And if you keep checking to see, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? You know,
yeah, and I think that's right. You know, there's nothing more I can really add to that, really. But I think that's exactly right. You know, every single day, you just kind of exist. And I hate to say it, and this is no disrespect to my craft, but I find it quite easy because you are in like I say, in a bit of a flow state where everything comes to you. Everything, you go, I don't quite know how to do that, and then you just need to sit for 30 seconds. And you go, oh, I know it. Because everything there is working for you. Everything is kind of focused on to try and capture that scene. So yeah, it's, you know, it's funny. It's not something I kind of think about that much, you know, because it just kind of happens.
Well, that's I think that, you know, it's like playing tennis. You know, the idea comes to you and you hit it back.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Yeah, and I think the moment, you know, like you touched on, the moment you start thinking about it, that's when it all goes belly up. Yeah, because you've lost it. You've absolutely lost it. And I think it takes time. For me, at least, anyway, I don't walk onto a show straight away and go, "This is easy." It's at least because that show's been set up for so long. You know that, well, not so long, but everyone knows each other, so you do not have to fight through that. You know, that kind of slight embarrassing, oh, hello, how do you do? Would you mind awfully putting this light up here? Or, you know, can we put a 35 on here, please? No, it's just like, okay, 35, here. And it just happens. So it's one of those few jobs where you are able to reach that flow state. And then, you know, I'm always looking for that next one. But yeah, that is a good example of that.
Is there like an example on the Handmaid's Tale that you can think of where you showed up and the scene or the shot wasn't speaking to you and you had to like the 30-second break didn't work and you're like, oh no, it's just wrong?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, it does happen. I mean, I'm not going to say like every single time I just nail it.
Sure. Well, I'm just thinking it just happened to me the other day. I was like, and it was for a corporate gig, but their offices were terrible. And I'm sitting there. You normally just put the person next to the window and it's good, but the walls were set up. It wasn't a straight wall or anything. It was like curved in, and it just looked terrible. And I sat there. But you're dealing with business people. They don't know what you're doing. So I just had to kind of bite the bullet. I was like, they're not going to care as long as it's lit.
Yeah, for sure.
Sat it down, but it's set. I've been thinking about it for like 2 days. Like, if I had 10 more minutes.
I know, right? I know. I mean, what I try and do, my prep is basically, okay, I'm going to not put myself in that position. So I kind of go, okay, I don't want to shoot here because of those reasons you said. Light's not right, or the whatever, the architecture doesn't work. So I just trying to gently steer myself away from it, and gently steer directors or designers or whatever, just to kind of go, okay, I don't think that's going to work. Let's try harder. I mean, that was always a bit of a mantra for me as well. Let's try harder. Let's try again. Let's come at from a different direction. So I don't often find myself in that position. And then when I do, I can usually kind of blag it.
Yeah. Well,
no one knows.
Exactly. That's the other thing too, is like they didn't see what I didn't do. But that does remind me. I saw an interview with you where you had mentioned that like you'd shot low budget stuff.
Yeah,
obviously we all do. But and that taught you like what not to shoot. And I'm always fascinated by that idea. And I was wondering if you could kind of elaborate on that, and maybe what low budget techniques, let's say, or thought processes that you kept with you through your professional career.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's kind of. I mean, I started kind of shooting documentaries, much like yourself, and it's and it kind of it teaches you to kind of go, okay, what 3 shots? It's always what 3 shots do you need to capture to tell a story. What if what is it going to be? Is it going to be one shot, single to be the most kind of basic terms, or is it something else? And that kind of that documentary, and also I did a lot of like you said, I did a lot of BBC soap stuff, something called Doctors, which when you look back on it, it's a strange old show.
The Who is critical.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, that's true. Yeah, but this was a very kind of low budget daytime soap, but it was the best training ground I ever had. I did go to film school, but being able to shoot, knowing that okay, you've got basically 20 minutes to shoot this scene. What are you going to do? Okay, like you said, you put them close to a window. You put the cameras on the shadow side, and that's basically it. You kind of know that okay, that kind of formula will get you out of a large proportion of situations you find yourself in. So yeah, it's very clever. It's kind of like okay, windows, practical sources. What are they? And that's like the main the main kind of thought processes, and then you then kind of work from there. So yeah, it's kind of just windows basically. Yeah, that's basically we're the windows, shoot me the windows.
Yeah. I did you mentioned film school. You went to film school kind of late, right? Like after you'd been working in television.
I did, yeah. So I did so I kind of was working more in multi-camera studio stuff. So I was doing, you probably never heard of in the US, but I was doing things like Blind Date, which is like a daft dating show. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which I think you guys had. So I was doing a lot of that stuff, and I distinctly remember doing a mid shot, standing behind these PED cameras. Was it that was your zoom, that was your focus? Yeah, and okay, I'm 20 years old. Is this it? Right. Am I going to be doing this now for the next kind of 50 years? And I just said no, I don't. I loved it. It was great. But I just couldn't see myself doing it. I'm a great believer in like if you're not enjoying something, then do something else. I know, and I feel very privileged that I can do that. I know not everyone can, but I did say okay, I don't want to do this. What I really want to do is I want to work in drama. I want to shoot film. And I stopped. I just said, okay, I'm going to stop that. I'm going to go back to film school. And it was the best decision I ever made. You get to work with Brian Tufano. We had Roger Deakins come up and do a few days. We had such an amazing place, and all the people. Stefan Pearson was there. He was a year above me. Kate Reed, she was a year below me. So we had an amazing group of people. So yeah, I really made a conscious decision. Okay, I am slightly older now, but I'm going to do it because I don't want to be doing this for another, like I said, another kind of 50 years. So I think it's important just to go, okay, stop. What do I want to do? And that's kind of, I figured that out quite early. I think.
Well, and I guess using those specific, you call them bed cameras.
Yeah.
We just call them broadcast cameras over here.
Right. Okay.
With the handlebars,
Yeah. And on a big pedestal type thing. Yeah.
But I imagine if you couldn't make drama work, you could, I suppose, pivot to sports. It's roughly the same,
I did. I'll be honest, I did a bit of that as well. I used to do Wimbledon. I used to do a bit of Premiership football. So I've done all that a lot. And, I love it. I'm still in contact with those people. And every so often I go, you know what? That sounds really lovely. You rock up on a day, you shoot some sport with your mates, and then you go home. Yeah. It sounds lovely. Whereas me, it's like 9 months of really intense kind of thought processes. But those guys, they just turn up, build their jibs or their peds, whatever, do it, and then fuck off home.
Yeah.
Lucky bastards.
Well, and to your point about like wanting to work with your friends and have fun and stuff, I think that's actually, you said that not everyone can do it, but I do a lot of corporate gigs with this guy who's a business consultant, and I'm not kidding, man. Like 9.9 times out of 10, I'm shooting these testimonials, right? And I've probably done 15 now. And every single time they're like, oh yeah, we were always at each other's throats and we couldn't break past, X number of revenue. And then once we started implementing these systems, now everyone's doing a great time and we're making a shit ton of money. And it always comes down to hiring. It always comes down to hiring. It's always like the people are in the wrong seats. Usually sometimes like a creative person is not being creative or vice versa. And people are too afraid to hurt someone's feelings. Someone is just not a fit, but they're like, but they're my buddy. And you don't want to work like that. And what's interesting to me is I've always had that in the back of my head, but I'm usually the one getting hired. I'm not doing the hiring. But I ran in at Cinegear. I ran into Chris Ross and Jimmy Lindsay were talking. And Sam McGurdy. It was a very fun little trio.
Lovely.
I was staying around. But Chris and Jimmy were talking about how they want to work together on something or another, in the future. But they mentioned how they hire oftentimes the same crews, and they were just talking to each other. I wasn't really like, they weren't saying this for me, but that the fact that they hire the same crews and the fact that they have the same preference in crews was potentially more important than anything else. And I was like,
for sure.
That's that fits right into that business consultant guys thing. It's literally all about who you hire. And so I was wondering, how do you pick your crew?
Firstly, yes, easy question. Are they assholes? And if they are, I don't employ them. Because, quite frankly, I'm being slightly flippant, but it's true. I mean, it's I spend more time with it's the same. You've heard this 1,000 times. I spend more time with crew than what I do with my wife and my daughter, and I need to enjoy their company. Quite frankly, and I think most people nowadays, it's very rare do you come across a bad focus puller or a bad grip or a bad gasser. I think nowadays, the standard is so high. So generally, most people you work at, they're all going to be incredibly talented, incredibly professional, incredibly good at what they do. But for me, it's like, okay, am I going to get on with them? And it's it sounds slightly stupid, but it's not. It's really, I really need to get on with them. I want to be able to kind of have a little joke, not necessarily, jokey and kind of, but just like, I'd like to, it is a very intense thing we do. And I think being able to just look at each other and so just that little roll of the eyes or a little bit, that didn't go very well, did it? Just a little tiny little thing and going, yeah, God, I'm with friends now, and it makes me a better cinematographer, I think, when I'm not having to kind of please please the gaffer, or I'm having to work hard to make the gaffer like me or whatever. It's just an extra thing I can't be dealing with, and that it happens a lot. I mean, I'm going to start a job on Monday, and it's with an entirely new crew, and I know I can do the job. I'm pretty confident about that. But it's what is going to be the most difficult thing for me is just meeting a whole new bunch of people. I'm sure they're lovely, and I'm sure I'll get on fine. But that's the biggest thing I find difficult nowadays. It's just meeting new people. Maybe it's I'm getting old, but it's like, okay, I got to work hard again to try and build those relationships. And for me, that it's quite exhausting. I find it relatively easy, but it is exhausting, and I put so much myself into do it that sometimes I want to go, oh, can I just have my own grip? Can I just have my own gaffer? But yeah, I think that's one of the most difficult things. But yeah, it's, everyone wants to work with their mates, surely.
Yeah. Well, and I just realized it was Sam and Jimmy that settled.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sam and Jimmy hired the same crews. I sat there for a second, and I was just trying to remember where they were standing. Anyway, but that was actually something. The only reason I'm name dropping so much is because at Cinegear I ran into everybody.
Nice. Yeah.
But I ran into Jeff Cronenweth, and we were talking about crewing. And, and he was saying back in the day, he used to be able to bring his crew everywhere. And now it's like you're kind of getting assigned to him more and more.
Absolutely.
Like, that's fascinating, because wouldn't you like, to your point, it's like going on a first date. If you have to get a new, you got to build up that shorthand with a new.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Or they just have to trust you blindly, which also might be an issue.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think you're right though. A lot of the time it is kind of they go through a bit of a kind of the same old thing. So who would you like? I would like, if possible, I'd like to have these people, and they go, well, we've got this person lined up.
Well, and for him, he was saying specifically about travel. When he's not,
exactly,
he's not allowed to bring his team places.
Exactly, yeah. I think that's exactly it. I can't understandably, I can't bring my UK crew to Canada. That make no sense at all. But it does. I mean, even kind of local. I think going back to your kind of shooting Welsh stuff. There is a Welsh spend, so you have to spend money there, which I entirely agree with. I think that's a great way of keeping money going and keeping money local, which is super important. So I get it, I understand it, but sometimes it's I just tell me who you want me to get. I'll make it work. But yeah, so playing the game. So who do you like? There's a difference things that.
I did want to. This is a slight pivot, but I was just thinking about the look of Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
Like it has a very it always has had a very striking look.
Yeah.
But the look evolves.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was wondering, kind of like, how do you make those decisions? Because a lot of the look obviously is done in production design. Certainly there is some color grading.
Absolutely.
But
yeah, for sure.
But like, how does that look change? Do you make some of those changes after, so many years? Like, do you do it just because you're like, what, fresh season, let's try something? And also, like, how has technology changed? Like 2017 to now, there's been like back then you probably might have been using just like still tungstens and HMIs, and now we've got all the LEDs in the world.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, kind of in regards to kind of the process, I mean, it's kind of, it's all very much dictated by the story. We don't just change it just because it's a new season. We should try and do something different. Now, there's an arc through the Handmaid's Tale, and I think that our photography is kind of reflects that. I'm not going to kind of go and go, Gilead is this and Toronto's that. Everyone knows where if you were to show them, kind of what those looks are. But the show did shift. So you have to change. You have to kind of follow that route. So we're everything we did was very much kind of dictated by the story. Yeah, everything we did, and then it was important that we still kind of kept that. It won Emmys, so we're not going to change it.
Right.
It's still an amazing show, so we can't change it. That is also what people expect. That this is the Handmaid's Tale look is people know it. So if all of a sudden the eyes went off on a tangent, first thing first, the producer would say, Stuart, stop that now. And also the audience would recognize that something's different. And so I think it's very important that you don't change it too much, just because it is the Handmaid's Tale, and you have to keep the kind of what has been established. And I think that does that. But also I think I'm a different cinematographer to Colin and to Nicola and to all the other DPs who've come in before.
I think Nicola on next week.
Yes, yeah, I know. She's coming into it kind of. I don't know if it's been cut together or whatever, but yeah. So we kind of I mean, naturally we will like slightly differently. So it kind of evolves slightly just because we are different people. But hopefully it's still kind of got that, the very kind of essence. Hopefully, kind of in the last few episodes which I shot, which was a bit of a throwback to kind of seasons 1 and 2. Hopefully, we kind of we threw it back to kind of that original kind of look. Hopefully. But technically, going to what you said about technically, camera wise, we're using exactly the same cameras, exactly the same lenses. Right. So we're still using the Alexa Minis, which I think are an incredible camera, even though
no reason to change.
Absolutely. I mean, they are amazing cameras. So, well, why would we change? Still the K35s, TLS rehouse, still amazing lenses.
TLS must love you for that.
No.
10 years of the same red.
No,
you're gonna etch your name into them.
I know. So I mean, they're just incredible lenses. Lighting wise, I mean, it hasn't changed. I mean, it's still kind of. I mean, obviously, I wasn't involved in season 1 and 2, but season 3, it was kind of very much kind of mole beams. Is that the kind of that very distinct look, a lot of atmosphere, mole beams through windows, and there's nothing out there. Maybe there is, but certainly nothing which I'm aware of, which can give you that same quality as mole beams, tungsten mole beams. So we still use those in the very last scene we shot, or rather, in season 6, episode 10. The very last scene is shot with mole beams. We've got 3 or 4 mole beams coming straight in, bit of atmos. I mean, it's kind of classic Handmaids, really. So we have, we do kind of use a little bit more kind of LED stuff for close work. But that's only the source itself. We still put it through our frames, put it through our various bits of diffusion. That's still very much, that hasn't changed. It's still the same old bits of paper, which we've used from the very start. So I think the only thing we really changed is, I mean, maybe Tom the Gaffer will replay this and go, we changed loads.
Literally everything changed.
Exactly.
What are you talking about?
What are you on about? You've got no clue whatsoever. But as far as I'm aware, it was very much just kind of like the close stuff, which kind of moved more into LEDs as opposed to keener flows, all that kind of stuff.
Right. And would you make that choice for like heat reasons or just easier? Or like, because normally I feel like people, when they want to get, skin, not that any specific person does this, but a lot of times people love how tungsten hits the face,
for sure.
Deals with skin.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. We never did that. We did move away from kind of tungsten and kind of move into more LED fixtures. And 9 times out of 10, it was, are they quick? It's still, although it's a high budget, we still have to move incredibly quickly. So is it
still television?
Absolutely. We're still shooting. Our pace count is still super high. So we still have to shoot quickly. And is the lamp movable? Can we literally plug it in and is it going to be plugged straight in and off we go? And can we, change the color temperature, change the intensity, all those usual things we've now kind of come very accustomed to and very grateful for. Can we do that? So that's kind of, that's kind of whatever LED I choose nowadays is like, how quick can we use them? Also, how good are they at the bottom end as well? When you start getting into the kind of like 2, 3, 4, 5%, they all get a little bit sketchy. So we always end up stick some ND in or whatever so that we can use it the kind of the middle of the range. So it's just little things like, is it easy to use? Because although I'm not using it, it still affects me about how long does it take? I don't want to be sitting there while the actors are on set and there's someone kind of fiddling, with around the back of the lab. I don't want to do that. So is it going to be reliable? Is it going to be quick? That's what I need.
It is funny how like all these companies, Namlux or whoever, Aperture, come out with the XT26. It's like a 50K, and then you're like 1%, 2%.
Exactly. That's right. Does it go down? Can we do 0.5%? Is that possible?
Yeah.
It's the same old thing. But we never use the top end of them at all. But no, I mean, I think it's a great thing, and also just it means that we don't have cables everywhere. We can just kind of plug it straight in, so it's super quick. I can go to Tom. I know I'd love to get a little highlight on this one. I think literally within 30 seconds, it's up, and that for me is the biggest kind of game changer. Again, I'm not saying anything, I'm sure, and many of the DPs haven't said before, but just being able to go super quick, no one even knows, the director doesn't know, the director's kind of chatting with the performers. I can do something super quick and no one even notices. And then that's what's really important for me, is just kind of being as invisible as possible. It's not about me as much as I would like it to be. It's not about me.
Right.
It's about the performance. It's about the actors. It's not about the camera gear. It's not about the lights. It's just making sure that I am invisible as possible to kind of capture that. And if I'm futzing about with cables and, you know, other bits and bobs, then I'm not. I don't think I'm doing my job correctly.
Well, and I had heard in a separate interview you had done about how, and this is something that I think a lot of DPs do talk about, but it's not about being the flashiest or whatever. But, and I've talked about this before with other people, but it does occur to me. I was just sitting here going like, shit, I got to remake my reel. And if I shot Handmaid's Tale, I could put that in there and people would go, oh, there's Elizabeth Moss. Great. Even if it was just sort of a middling shot, it'd be like, that's fine. But when you have to put a reel together and you're, you know, coming up, you're trying to get better jobs, whatever, you do have to kind of go flashy in the for the reel, you know, and then that affects your work because you're like, shit, I really was really hoping for that, but now I gotta just shoot a wide.
No, that's a good point. I mean, I remember going shoot lighting stuff, going, okay, this is going to be on my reel, this one, and how can I make it as good? How can I make it as good as possible? Which, you know, it kind of goes slightly against my ethos about it.
But the thoughts do happen. You have to have the next job.
Absolutely, no, 100%. And even now, I kind of go, yeah, that looks pretty cool. That is great. That's definitely going to go on my reel. I mean, all that, just happens all the time. You're going to go, yeah, you know, that's actually really cool. That's really great. But yeah, I know, I get it. I know I did some, you know, all the music videos that I used to do kind of back in the early 2000s. They were like, okay, what bit of kit has just come out? What can I use to try and make it look different?
That actually kind of goes to what I was going to say. Was there used to be where I was heading with that, which was the music video era is kind of dead. You know, the 90s, early 2000s. That's where you could really experiment, try things. Yeah. When you're on a show like Handmaid's Tale for so long, where do you find time to, as David Lynch said, get dreamy with it, or try new things, or experiment? You know, how do you stop yourself from kind of staling out?
Yeah, I feel very lucky in that we are kind of, and this comes from Lizzie. This comes from, you know, the executive producers. But this is a visual show, so there's something you want to try out, do it. You know, so for example, there's the end of episode like 6, I think it is. Lizzie is essentially, she's in a closet. I say, okay, that's the end of the show. Okay, how am I going to photograph it? How can I make that interesting rather than just someone in a black box? So we're kind of given free reign to kind of go, okay, what can we do to completely kind of make it the most kind of iconic shot? And for me, it's actually one of the best shots I think I've done on the show. And so you're encouraged to go, okay, what is the best way you can do this? What is visually the most impressive way you can tell that story? So it comes from the very top. So and I'm also very aware that this doesn't happen very often. You're not given that chance to go, okay, I'm going to do something a little bit off weird here, but let's try it. And Lizzie was a great, you know, she always said, if it doesn't work, it doesn't make the show, and no one's none the wiser. You bought it up, but it doesn't matter because it won't go out. So it really kind of came from the very top where you go, look, just try, just push it as hard as you can, just completely throw it all out, and just think about, okay, what can we do? And I think that's what I'm going to miss most about that show is just being able to have the opportunity of going, right, fuck it, let's just do something crazy. Let's do something which is really unusual, and you can always work from it. You can always scale it back. But what is the most amazing version of what we can do, and then you can kind of, you know, kind of change it after that. But so I'm not sure if that answers the question. But it was we're allowed to do it basically. So give that opportunity, and then you kind of grab onto it with both hands.
Well, and also like for how dark the show is, I mean, like totally.
Okay.
How do you thread the needle between making it look pretty, you know, good, like enticing, and not turning it into like a horror film, you know, because it's like two sides of this coin that it's very unique, not incredibly unique, but it is unique to The Handmaid's Tale.
Yes, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think So with kind of dark stuff, and I get it. I think nowadays everyone's kind of aware of, how dark do you make it? How far can you go? But I think a lot of the time you can get away with it as long as you can see two eyes. If you can see the little ping in your eyeballs, people can, you can get away with all sorts. So for me, it's just, yeah, you can make it dark, but people know that is what's interesting anyway for me anyway as a cinematographer. Do you want to see the eyes, unless you don't want to for story reasons, but generally, if you're able just to light, even if it's just light just this little part, you can get away with all sorts of murder, and no one will say it's too dark because you've got two little pings in the eyeballs. So that's what I try and do. I don't always do it, but that's what I try to do. And then that's kind of like a get out of jail free card. You can make it as dark as you like, as long as you've got two little pings, then most of the time you're fine.
Well, I'm more specific. That's also something I've had to learn myself, because these little things have really come in handy.
Absolutely, they're great. On the go, you just kind of put them on the camera.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. And sometimes you do get. I'm a big fan of Dan Winters, the photographer.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work for cinematography really, but I love his use of the on camera ring light flash as film.
Yeah,
it's so otherworldly, and I'm like,
absolutely,
I kind of want to just dial it in and make it look like that.
Yeah,
way down. Way down.
But that's the thing. It looks great though, and I mean, if I was when I'm not so much a Handmaid, but a lot of the shows I do. There is one mounted to the camera, and if I'm operating, I can just I just dial it in. Doesn't need to be much, 1%. That's all you need. It's just a reflection. It's not filling in anything. So yeah, the thing, and that's the other great thing about back in the old days, there would have been dados and birdies and all sorts. They running cables across set. It would have been an absolute nightmare.
Didn't they used to make were they cold cathode lights, or were they just small keynotes that you could literally tape on the matte box?
Yeah, were they barflies? Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going quite some time ago now,
right?
But yeah, that's right. All little kind of car interior kits. Like, oh god, here we go, and nothing ever worked. Then he plugged it in, and it was flickering away. Oh my god! But yeah, I mean, I'm glad those days are over. Those car kits we used to have. But yeah, I mean, it's so easy nowadays just to kind of go, okay, as long as you've got a strong idea of kind of what you want. Okay, I want a little ping in the eyeballs. I want to have this big soft thing. It can be done very quickly, really straightforward. You've got a good gaffer, but with the gear available now, it's so easy to do.
Yeah, I did want to circle back to it because you had said that in film school, you're surrounded by all these great cinematographers.
Yeah,
I once again going back to Cinegear, it was 2 days ago.
Was it good? Was it good?
Well, really? It was the first time I didn't have to work it. So I was just wandering around with a beer in my hand, just seeing what I would find, and I found everybody. So I was just on a yap fest,
Nice, great. I know with the BSC show here, it's not about. I mean, it's always a bit about the gear. It's just about going. Oh, hello.
If you want the gear, you go to NAB.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Okay.
If the Cinegear, Chris was talking about the BSC show. It is more about friendship and you're outside. At least it's
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and like you said, you can have a beer as well.
Yep. But I did want to add, you had mentioned that Deacons had showed up to your film school. He's been touring his books a lot, him and James, and every time I run into him, I feel like I can't get a read on him.
Right, really, okay.
He's very quiet, not quiet, but just I think I would be, if I was him, I would be overwhelmed by all these, quote,
nerds. For sure. For sure.
Running up on him. Oh my God, you're my favorite. But I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, do you remember anything that he spoke about or taught you when he showed us to your film school?
I think that's probably just being kind and just being very open. I don't really remember kind of any kind of techniques or kind of any particular methods of lighting, but I just remember just being just a very open human being, and then that's kind of across the board. At the film school, everyone was just very keen to kind of give over knowledge, and that's kind of what I didn't expect really. Kind of when I first joined the film industry, and I still am in awe of all these incredible DPs. But you kind of think, okay, they're not going to want to talk to me. They're going to be, thinking about their movies or whatever. But 9 times out of 10, they've all been the complete opposite. Everyone's been incredibly friendly, incredibly open. And the moment you kind of engage with them, like you, and kind of show an interest in something, then they go, "Oh, okay, yeah, so we can talk about this." I think that's what probably struck me the most, was just just being a good soul. And I think we need more of what we need more of in this industry, really. Just kind of like some good, kind people. Just so that we can all enjoy ourselves, really.
I will say, like, everyone that I've run into who are people I admire have all been very kind, but
yeah,
the BSC group in particular have been very
great. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I was BSC a couple of years ago, and it's just been lovely. I mean, it really is. It's just, everyone is so lovely. And Kate Reed, who I know you had on, she is the one who kind of put me forward for it. And then she came out to me and she said, "You really should be BSC. You should try." And I go, "Oh, okay, yeah, maybe I should." But no, it was just the kind of that kindness and kind of that openness, which I think the BSC does really well at. Just kind of being inclusive, and just I was involved in the like a mentor scheme as well, and we did this we get assigned with kind of up and coming DPs, which I find weird, because I don't feel as though I'm at all really suitable. But it's kind of, so you kind of so they kind of encourage this real kind of sense of kind of growing as an industry, kind of growing as a community, which I kind of I enjoy. Doing what we do is sometimes very, 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 we're on our own all the time, and we don't get a chance to speak to other DPs, whereas the BSC kind of gives you the opportunity.
Yeah. Is there I know we're coming up on time, but is there like a example that you can think of where mentorship affected you in a positive way?
I don't know, really. I mean, I think I don't think so much kind of being a mentee or mentor or whatever, but I do remember having a conversation with Brian Tofano, who was shot Trainspotting, an incredible DP, sadly no longer with us. But I just remember him just being like, "Stuart," he kind of pulled me to one side, Stuart, and he said, like, "You're trying too hard."
Sure.
It's just, you're trying, just kind of just feel it. Just kind of, and I do remember him saying, like, this, it isn't rocket science. And it isn't. And, there's people who try and make it a lot more difficult than what it is. But really what we do, again, I don't want to be disrespectful of what we do, but it is relatively straightforward. And I think as long as you remember that, it doesn't have to be complicated. And I think that was probably the biggest thing which Brian kind of taught me, was going, it's doesn't have to be difficult. You're making it difficult.
Well, to be fair, and this is something I try to remind myself, or like I've tried to think of myself as an educator in various ways.
Yes.
So writing or teaching, or, online and stuff. But one thing that I think all the new technology that's come out has made it seem more complicated. Oh, I need the right lens. I need the right camera. I need the right lights. And it's like, I've got these 3 books from Ansel Adams over here.
Yeah.
It's been the same since then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Maybe there's a little bit of a technical difference, but like in terms of what you're shooting, it's all
absolutely
the same for 120 years.
Absolutely. I think you have to, and then actually that just reminded me something else that Brian used to kind of distill to us, was that, just look out the window and just see how light falls on, how does it fall on faces? What happens during the day when the sun, where's light coming from? I've got windows up here, lights coming, that's my feel. Just look, just observe. And I think that is really what's important as being a cinematographer. Cameras and lighting doesn't really interest me, in all honesty, about the new cameras, I'm afraid to say. What interests me really is storytelling and how I can photograph something. Because you can photograph things on this.
Right.
That's all you need. You don't need huge amounts of equipment, but you can observe. I think that's what's important.
I will say one technological tool, well, 2 actually, that have helped me observe. I suppose.
Yeah.
3. First, it started with me just wandering around with my little Fujifilm, my X100.
Yeah.
At first, it was my phone, but then I got a nice little pocketable camera, and when I see good light, I take a photo of it.
Yeah.
And then it was, I got a light meter and a color meter. And I would start just observing, I'd see something cool, and especially the color meter, right? Like I can't remember if I was talking to about this, but I felt like an idiot when I discovered this. But yeah, direct light and just outside of the beam, 2 completely different color temperatures.
Yeah.
And if you have to recreate it, you have to include that.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. That's amazing. That's a really valid point. Just walk around with your meters and just see what light does. That's really wise.
The final third thing that I've learned is you take frames either from your camera or from movies you like, whatever. And in a program like Resolve, it now has the zone system ostensibly, false color based on stops.
Yeah, for sure.
So you can use that overlay and just technically, there we go. See what light's doing. Because, you can look, it's one thing to observe it and try to eyeball it. But then if you go, oh, okay, skin is at key, and then the hot spot is 1 stop, and the background is 2 under, I can remake that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think the biggest, being able to just having your eyes open, and that doesn't have to happen when you're on set. Just when you go down the shops. When you go pick your daughter up from school, it's just looking, just observing. And one day there'll be something. You'll be seeing something where light will fall through a window and it's raining, and you go, "That's beautiful. I'm going to remember that because I'm going to use it at some point." So it's just keeping your eyes open. And I think sometimes it's very, very, very easy, particularly nowadays, just to be entirely blinkered. That sometimes you need to kind of step back and go, "Oh, okay, yeah, okay." I'm just observing. I think it's. Such an important thing we do as cinematographers.
Yeah. Well, and if you observe, and this is something not every DP, but I think some of my favorites have mentioned is there are so many helicopters outside of my house. That's not what they mentioned, but right now they're getting
okay, fine. Okay.
So I'm mildly, it's fine. I live next to an airport, so they,
okay.
But the thing that I've started applying to my own work is the idea that light needs to fight to get to the set. If everything is just a bare source, or maybe even just one thing of diffusion, that's not how light works. Right? When you're observing light doesn't just appear in the room; it's got to go fighting to get there. So if you can implement that, I find it does make my work better.
Oh,
and that can be just putting the light outside the window.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But yeah,
like that, it needs to fight its way through.
Yeah,
I like that a lot. That's really interesting. I remember. I think this is one of Brian's techniques. So he used to have a bag full of old bits of cloth, bits of muslin, all sorts of rubbish, and he just said, "Yeah, I just go end it off and I just pin it to the lamps," and it doesn't really do anything, but it just creates texture, and kind of that reminded me of fighting through, and some of them were really thick bits of. God knows what it was, but tar stains, bits of cloth, but it really had to fight its way through. But it did something which was so much more interesting and so much more kind of nuanced than just kind of having a bit of diffusion, a bit of 216, whatever. It's just kind of having something you just have in your bag all the time and just pin it to it and look, it's beautiful.
Yeah. We are over time, so unfortunately I must let you go. But you did mention earlier about shooting a pilot for Capaldi.
Yes.
And I was wondering, what did you learn from being under him instead of next to him?
That he's even better director than me as an actor. He's just
cool.
Amazing. He's amazing. I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's just amazing. He's just, and he called me up. A few days later, and goes, "No, really, thank you. No, really, he's just one of those lovely people. You feel very lucky to find those people, and that's always what I'm on the lookout for. Is kind of, directors in particular, who you can connect with in a way, and he was one of them. I mean, he's gone off and done, he's done other things since, but yeah, it's just he's just lovely. Have you seen the thick of it? Have you seen him?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. I mean.
After Doctor Who, I pretty much watched his entire.
Okay.
Work. I was like, I love this guy. I hadn't heard of him until Doctor Who.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, he's quite. I mean, he's a little bit sweary, but he is. But yeah, he's just lovely, and he's so just kind of easygoing. Yeah. If you're listening, Peter, give me a call.
Yeah. If he's listening, I want to have him on the show. I've legitimately wanted to do this for a while, which is actors who became directors.
Oh, really?
Because like I think Affleck's a good example.
That's a great idea.
Capaldi,
Lizzie Moss. Yeah, of course.
Moss,
yeah, absolutely.
I think that'd be a sick month.
I think that's such a great idea, because I think some of the best. Sorry, I know you're over time, but some of the best directors I've ever worked.
We could be here for the next 2 hours. But then they'll yell at me.
No, I'm for, but the best directors I've ever worked with, on the whole, have been ones who've been actors as well. Mm-hmm. Just the way that they can communicate with the performers, the way they communicate with me, and also it's also quite nice that they go, Stuart, I don't quite know how to achieve this. No, how do we do it? And so it's very much kind of an open conversation. So yeah, I think we should definitely do that. And by far, some of the best people I've ever worked with have been directors who are actors.
Well, if you can get me Capaldi and Lizzie Moss, I bet I can convince, maybe Affleck, because I know a few people that know him.
Okay, yeah,
I need to get Angelina Jolie will probably cap off.
All right,
the hardest to get a hold of.
Okay, yeah,
probably.
Yeah. Well, let's stay in touch, because you never know. I can send an email. You never know. But,
oh yeah, man, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
No. Enjoy what time is it over there? I try to be cognizant of the.
That's when 10 past 8. It's all good.
Oh, it's all right. I'll let you get to your evening though. I'm going to find some lunch, but it was wonderful talking to you, man. Please do.
You too, Kenny. Thank you so much.
Phenomenal. Like you don't.
Thanks, Mick.
I don't need to blow smoke up your assets.
I'm glad. Well, enjoy speaking to Nicola.
Yeah. And, please stay in touch. Take care. Enjoy your evening. And
thanks, Kenny.
I'll keep talking.
Good stuff. Yeah. Thanks, mate. It's been a pleasure. Good stuff. See you soon.
Frame and Reference is an Albot production, produced and edited by me, Kenny McMillan. If you'd like to support the podcast directly, you can do so by going to frameandrefpod.com and clicking on the Patreon button. It's always appreciated, and as always, thanks for listening.